Choices. They are the crossroads of our lives, the hinges upon which our future swings. They are more than just decisions, they are the subtle threads that weave the fabric of our existence. And in our youth, those choices hold the most weight, setting the course for the rest of our lives. Now, among every choices of what education to pursue, what career to follow, or what relationships to maintain, the most important choice you will ever make is who you become at your core, how you shape your identity beyond the boxes of race, ethnicity, and socioeconomic factors. Because this dictates all the other choices you make and likewise impacts all the results that comes out of those choices. Now, who you become as a person stems from three major surrounding factors: experiences, culture, and relationships. Relationships that include your family, friendships, and romantic ones. Let's take my life as a little case study. I was born and raised in India to a beautiful Nepali Indian mother and a tall, dark, handsome South Indian dad. Very multicultural. Though I lived in India, I was raised in a Christian household. Now, before y'all wonder where my accent comes from, let me tell you all that my parents moved a lot of jobs to give me the best of things. So in their moving, I lived in 4 states, relocated 8 to 10 times, and changed schools every 2 to 3 years. Just when I thought I was settling in, we moved to Dubai for a few years, went back to India, and finally ended up in the United States around 2019. Now, you may think that this may have broadened my perspective, and it did, but as a child, it was overwhelming. Each time we moved, I had to learn new people, new culture, and their expectations just to fit in. I struggled the most in school. I was often sidelined and bullied because of how different I looked from the people around me. So desperate to fit in, from the fear and anxiety of being alone, here began my pursuit of external validation. I started dressing like them. I started talking like them. I even adopted their slang just to be cool and savage. Now, I remember there was this time where I was in middle school, and we moved to Dehradun, which is near the northern side of India, close to Nepal and Tibet borders, and there was this intense emo fashion wave going around in 2016s. I know. Now, picture this. There I was, with jet black hair and a drastic side swoop that covered at least 75% of my face. I had just enough room for one of my eyes to peek out like a mysterious raccoon. And I had bangs. Bangs so sharp enough to cut through the bad vibes in the room when I walked in. And I thought I was so cool. Now imagine all this happening to Pentecostal Christian parents, right? Plus they were Indians. Let me tell you, deadly combination of conservatism. My mother started fasting twice as much. But you know what was the most twisted thing that I learned? That if I do not want to be the victim of bullying, I must become like them. In psychological concept, it is known as identification with the aggressor. It occurs when someone who is being bullied or threatened starts adopting traits and behavior or attitudes of the person or the party who is bullying them. So this was my defense mechanism to avoid feeling powerless by aligning myself with the aggressor so that I could reduce the likelihood of being the target. Guess what? I became, pardon my French, a badass mean girl. The one that could throw insults as soon as I received them. I learned to be so sharp with my words, to walk with a tough exterior, and to build walls so high around me that nobody could see the insecure girl behind those walls. I became the Regina George of my time. Not the looks, not the looks. Just the persona, guys. During that time, I merely became a reflection of the company that I kept. In my mind, if I was the one calling the shots, nobody could hurt me. And I was good with it. I was comfortable. I got the popularity, attention that I needed, and nobody would mess with me. But slowly, I started basing my identity and forming around the experiences I had. Then comes the sweet adolescent age when puberty hits. Here, platonic and romantic relationships play their part. Friendships often shape how we see ourselves. Relationships do the same, especially when we are still trying to figure out what love really looks like. Here, influenced by media and the relationships around me, I confused drama for passion. And I accepted less than I deserved. I started molding myself just to accommodate all these relationships in my life that just kept me tearing down. So here comes the question. Why did I get swayed away? Why do we all get swayed away? By the culture, generation, social media, pop culture, music, movies, or may I say, money, fame, and power? The answer is simple. It's instant gratification. During adolescence, our brains undergo significant development, especially in the areas associated with decision making, emotions, and social interactions. At this time, the need for acceptance becomes a paramount, whereas our prefrontal cortex, that helps us with long-term planning and self-regulation, is still developing. Meanwhile, our limbic system, that is responsible for emotions, is in overdrive. This imbalance drives us to seek immediate gratification and validation from those around us, like our peers and romantic relationships. In this phase of life, our identity becomes so highly impressionable that we look to others to define ourselves. Which is why many of us as young people have faced profound sense of confusion and emptiness because we start forming our identities on shifting and unstable foundation. Hear me out. If your self-esteem hinges on how others perceive you, any conflict or rejection will feel like a personal attack on who you are. During these times, we trade authenticity for acceptance, and we let the fear of rejection dictate our choices. I depended so much on others' approval that I lost sight of who I truly was beyond these external influences. Remember when I mentioned that I was raised in a Christian household? Here's a question for all of us to ponder upon. Why didn't I choose to anchor my identity in faith, in the values that I was taught growing up? Why didn't I choose to live by the principles of forgiveness, kindness, and standing for what's right? Why didn't I choose a path of love, a love that does not boast nor envies, but is patient and kind, the love that builds others up and chooses friendship to walk a lifetime with you? The truth is, those values didn't give me the instant gratification that I craved. Think about this. Forgiveness, when you are truly hurted, doesn't give you immediate satisfaction. Choosing kindness over bluntness doesn't make you feel powerful in that moment. And choosing patience, given the pace of life, is simply difficult. But I was wrong. When I hit my rock bottom, when all these external influences that I dearly clinged to still kept me feeling empty and confused, here's something profound I realized. Those values that I dismissed, that I was running away from because they didn't give me the instant gratification that I craved, were actually the values that brought me peace, joy, and lasting fulfillment in my chaotic world. Forgiveness gave me the freedom that resentment never could. Grace gave me the courage to move on when judgment kept me anchored to my past. And love helped me build deeper connection than indifference because that only kept me isolated. Building others up, even when they tried to tear me down, gave me deeper satisfaction than any mean girl or tit for tat attitude ever could. I found strength in lifting others up, and this strength was not rooted in power, but in love and empathy. I no longer had to wear this mask of toughness. I found confidence in humility. So here is my message to all of you. It is easy to get swayed away by instant promises. It is easy to adopt traits, behaviors, or toxic habits of those around you just to fit in or feel validated. But before you start attaching any of these characteristics to your identity, I want you all to ask yourself these 3 questions. Y'all ready? Will it build me up, or will it tear me down in long run? Will it build others around me, or will it break them down? Does this align with who I truly want to become, or am I just following the crowd? Your identity is the most important choice you will ever make. And guess what? You get to choose that every single day when you wake up. You get to choose who you become. It's the slow, steady, and mindful growth that builds a strong character and an identity that is unshakable. Forgiveness, love, and grace helped me become who I am today. And in doing so, we create a ripple effect around us of positivity. Choose now who you want to become, because who you become at your core is the greatest legacy you will leave behind.